Over the past 10 years, I've gone from a struggling sales rep, dialing leads all day, making $22 per sale, and just working my ass off to barely be able to pay my rent, to being a sales consultant to some of the biggest and best entrepreneurs on the planet, earning multiple 7 figures a year and building multiple 8-figure companies. But if I really understood what the big telephone companies don't want you to know, the big dialers like Airwallex and Alaware and all these ones know but aren't really telling you, and if I could go back in time and have this information, then I would have retired by the time I'm 40 already. And I'm going to explain to you the thing that I've learned, which is the contact rate loophole. Now, what is the contact rate loophole? It's the way that I've managed to consistently get 2, 3, and 4 times the pickup rate, contact rate, faster speeds to lead when calling leads than anybody else has on places like Airwallex, Alaware, Kixi, any of those ones, because like those companies don't really care if you actually succeed. They don't really care if you get a hold of your leads. And in reality, like they're kind of remunerated for you not to, because they want you to have more phone numbers. They want you just to call and call and call and call, because every single time you hit a voicemail, every single time you buy a number, every single time you dial, they're making money. And you think that it has nothing to do with them, but in reality, it really does. And what they're not telling you, and what you are going to find out on this video, is that they're actually working against you to get the outcome that you're looking for. All right, so what is the contact rate loophole, and sort of how does it work? So the way that contact rates work is that what that metric is it's like how many leads come in to how many people you actually contact. Now, pickup rate plays a large role in that, because like you can only call so many people, but there are a lot of rules and regulations around that stuff, and there are tons of different protocols that are being used to stop you from being able to contact your leads. And a lot of it's kind of fair enough, because a lot of scammers out there are kind of doing weird stuff and calling people and harassing people and all that kind of stuff. Like I know of companies that call people 10 times a day. It's just a bit excessive, to be honest, even if you've asked to be called. And so what I'm going to break through is how the phone system works a little bit and how you can actually use it to maximize what you get, because like there are ways around these things. And I've spent the last, 8 to 12 months building these things within my dialer, right? Dialer.io, which is just being released now to the public. But like there's a lot of things that you can do inside the system that you have at the moment. Ultimately, it's probably broken. It's probably going to be a fact that like it's not going to work. I'm going to explain why, but it will work for periods of time and it will at least get you a better result than what you're getting now. So the first thing you have to understand is spam flagging. How does it work and how does it affect your contact rate? You're being spam flagged pretty regularly probably, and it's probably affecting your pickup rate because it's coming up as spam. Now, people think that this happens because people are like hitting spam likely. It's just not the case. Like that's a very small percentage of the spam flags. All of it's done algorithmically, so it's based on the behavior of your phone numbers. And so how you rotate those numbers really, really matters, and how often you use those numbers really, really matters as well. And so you're probably using a dial like Alaware, Kixi, all that kind of stuff. All those things are skins basically with an API that connects to Twilio, and then Twilio then does a phone call. What they're not telling you is that like that system was never meant for phone calls. Like it just wasn't. So all these dialers like Kixi and they're like local presence dialing, their way of doing it is going to be legal. Like it's not illegal. It's not legal now technically, but like it's walking a gray area where the legislation hasn't caught up, and they know this, right? They definitely know it. They know that like you getting a number from them for almost no money because it's on the Kixi network, or like Airwallex where it's $9 and they're probably paying 8 cents per month per number to Twilio because in the packs that they buy in, and you're paying $9 per number. They're setting you up to fail because they know that you can't really give that number back, so you're going to be paying it. You're going to have to buy more every time it gets spam flagged. They know it's getting spam flagged because they're probably monitoring the numbers, but they're going to charge you to do that as well. And then they know that ultimately that their system is built off a backbone that's only meant for texting, and they just made an API that can make it call. That's ultimately what you're paying for, and that's why it sucks, and that's why it doesn't work, and that's why it closed. And all of these things that run off the Twilio network, they're ultimately doomed to fail because like they're built off a network that's not going to work. So how do you counteract it? How do you find this loophole? First is rotating of your numbers. Now, the rotating of your numbers doesn't mean that you wait till one gets flagged and then you rotate in a new one. You have to have a rotation system that actually keeps them under some of the spam thresholds. Now, there are a lot of spam flagging things that happen. I'm only going to go over a few of them because it would be a very long and boring video if I told you all of them. But this is something you can do. Try and keep your numbers to like less than $80 to $100 per day. If you can do that, that is one thing. So you can set up an API rotator. That's what we did. We built our own, which is like a rotator which maps new incoming leads to new incoming numbers, and then it assigns them as they go into the dialer. So you can do that, or you can probably do a manual process where you just make sure that your guys are rotating the numbers regularly. That will help. It will not stop it, but it will help, and it will extend the life of the numbers. It will give you an extra boost of pickup rate every time you do that. Now, again, it's only one piece of the puzzle. It's not going to work long term, and you're going to build up a lot of numbers that way, but the numbers will last for a little bit longer. Okay, so that's step number one. Step number two is making sure that you don't do what's called pattern dialing. Okay, so pattern dialing is where you have a dialer set or you have an SOP, it's like they're going to get set on these set and regular and consistent times. They're going to get called ding, and then an hour later and ding, and then 2 hours later ding, and then a day later ding, and then 48 hours later ding, which you can set up in a fair few dialers. What that does is that can see, the algorithm can see pattern dialing happening, and that's going to punish you, because what it's looking for like automations. It doesn't want you to have them. It wants you to pick up the phone and actually call somebody, and like there you go, you have an interaction with another human being. It's crazy, and then you mix it. That's one thing that's going to help as well. So you have to have some sort of way of not pattern dialing, but still, get your point across and still be able to get your maximum amount of dials. The next thing is understanding the rules and regulations and staying within them. So, which I know is a bit of a tough one, because like the less efficient your system is, the more rules you have to break. But I'll do a video later on which will explain like how catastrophic that can be to a business, especially with some of the whistleblower and commissions that people can get for helping businesses in. Comment down below if you want me to do that, like whistleblower, and I'll do a full video explaining how like a whistleblower can get 30% of the fines, and I'll break through how that fine system and structure works and how it can be devastating to your business, but at least you know about it. So you won't be able to sleep at night, but hopefully you can do something about it. Right, so knowing what the rules are. So the rules are essentially, in the United States, you get 3 maximum attempts to dial someone in a day, and that's not dial, that's 1. No, that's 3. That's all of them. So the people who are teaching this bulldog triple dial strategy, it's a ridiculous and stupid strategy. I used to think it was like the way to go, and then I did like 1 second of Googling and was like, oh, this is a terrible idea. We should never do this again. No one should ever do this. This is a terrible idea. Don't do it. It is horrible for your business. It is stupid. Anyone in 2024 who's still propagating that nonsense has clearly no idea what they are talking about. You must take me at my word for that. You can do a little bit of Googling. Triple dialing people is one of the top 5 reasons why people get spam flagged. Like that is like on the list of the stir shaken protocols, which is the protocol that actually decides, the algorithm that decides, well, most of it that decides if you get spam flagged. Like number 3 on the list is triple dialing. Okay, so they are seeing triple dialing and they are boom, immediately spam flagging you. Double dialing is almost just as bad, but it's not quite as bad. But if you have a good pickup rate, if you have a good numbers, if you rotate them, if you work within the TCPA regulations, you will be able to single dial people and have them pick up, right? The problem is everyone's been doing crazy stuff for so long that everyone's FTC flagged and all that kind of crap, right? So there's that. So you have to stay within the rules. So 7 times in 7 days, 3 times in a single day. You have to do it between the actual call hours. Most of it's 8 till 8. Some of it's 8 till 9. Okay, 8 till 8 is pretty safe, right? So if you use that, you should be okay. But there are non-dialing days and all that kind of stuff. But 8 till 8, Monday to Friday, and then like within normal hours, you can't really dial on Sundays. In Europe, there is no real rules like that. However, it is just stated that it should be reasonable and generally within business hours. That's how it works in Europe and the UK. There's no actual set times and stuff like that. Okay, and so the last thing, which really kind of hacks contact rate, is speed to lead. Okay, so in our dialer, what we did is we built in like a thing where as soon as a lead comes in, it gets queued as the next call and it's automatically dialed by an agent, right? That's what we did to solve that problem. We've seen contact rates of anywhere from 50 to 80% contact rate. So 100 leads come through and 80 people are getting contacted and spoken to in the first 3 days because the speed to lead is like less than 5 to 10 minutes. Now, what can you do with speed to lead? One, you can try and have a system where like people are notified immediately and you have the right staffing ratio to be able to get on the phone to those people. Generally speaking, to have a fast speed to lead, because not just like an individual lead, I'm talking speed to lead on like a total business basis. Generally speaking, anywhere from 50 to 60 new leads per day per SDR is about the max that they can handle on a good system where they're actually like going to be able to get to them regularly. Because if I give you 1,000 leads, I'm going to give you the same amount of sales as if I give you, 10,000, right? It's just too many leads to handle. So if someone's handling them properly and they're doing 3 times day 1, say 2 times day 2, 2 times day 3, maxing out the 7 in the 7-day period, so you're doing 7 in the first 3 days, all within the limits and guidelines, you have a good quality number and you have a fast speed to lead, right? That 50 to 60 leads per day stacks up to, $180 day 1 for those new leads. Day 2, right? You've got 120 to 120, but you've got the new day 1s, the new day 2s. So it stacks up to where that person's pretty full all day. And so if you can maintain that, then you will have high contact rates. And high contact rates are the key to having a effective dialing strategy. So it's not just you guys. Like your dialer is responsible for an awful lot of your actual success, which is why everyone's like, when I call on my phone, people pick up. It's so weird. It's like, yes, it says T1 routing. T1 routing means it goes straight from you to the prospect and the caller ID matches. When you're calling off your shit Twilio numbers, half the time the number doesn't even match, right? And so they can't even call you back. And then that triggers another flag as well, because like the outbound has to match the inbound. And on Twilio, a lot of the time using pooled numbers, even if you don't know you're using pooled numbers, because it's a shit system that's meant for texting. If you can get off it, it's all the better. I have a dialer. I did it. Come on to me. Or don't. I don't give a fuck, right? But the key is, if you can have a fast speed to lead, good quality numbers, you can have a rotation system, and you can have the correct staffing, you can absolutely hack your sales and your contact rates to be much higher than what they are now, because you will actually be able to speak to people. All right, I'm done talking. Have a good day. Bye.